going on, everybody? And today I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another weekly markup on US30, NASDAQ, or NAS100, whatever you want to call it, gold, and GJ, so GBPJPY. So if you watched my last video on the market breakdown that I did, as you can see, I posted the markups that I did, and you can see this was last week's markup. As you can see, it did respect it, as you can see, but I didn't expect it to have this range that it did. Same thing with NAS100. It came to both these levels, but kind of ranged, respected them. The one that didn't go as planned was GBPJPY. This was one of the markups that didn't play out, but the one that played out the best was our gold markup. As you can see, it played out perfectly, came down to this breaker block, so it was respecting this 4-hour order block this whole time, and then the areas that we were looking to target where buy side liquidity was in this fair value area, and it just played out perfectly. So let's just get into this one. So first things first, like I always say, you always start off on the higher time frames. The reason you start off on the higher time frames is because you need to understand what's happening overall in the market. I say this often, but I say it for a reason. So let's start off on the daily time frame. The first thing that I noticed right now is price had this drop, came up, and it's just been ranging the past week, which is the range that US30 had. And the reason for this, in my opinion, is because price is still holding this breaker block area. If you don't know what a breaker block is, I have a separate video on that. I'm not going to be going over in this video. There's a time and place for it. But as you can see, price is respecting this breaker block area. So in my opinion, if price can still hold above this area, I'm still overall bullish for it. But if price starts to possibly break lower, then from there I'll be looking to target lower areas, possibly around 34,690. But until then, it doesn't matter. We're just gonna play what we see right now. Matter of fact, let me pull this fib just so I could get an idea. Okay, that doesn't really matter. I was just pulling it just to see something. So now that we overall know that we're still bullish on the higher time frame, why? Because we're respecting this breaker block and we're overall still in this overall uptrend. We're going to go down to the 4-hour time frame. So from here we're going to mark up the previous day's daily high and the previous day's daily low. So here's the daily high, and this is the daily low right here. Okay, so we overall, like we said, we know we're bullish. And what do we see right now? The first thing that comes to my eyes when I see this is if you look to the left, right over here, this 4-hour order block. Why is it an order block? Because it's the last down candle before the push that then broke these highs. So this is going to be an order block. I'm gonna put this right here. This is going to be a 4-hour order block. I'm gonna change the color to blue, just so I know. This is our 4-hour order block. I'll mark it up for you guys so you don't get confused. So this is our 4-hour order block, and where is this at? This is at, matter of fact, I'm gonna do this. I like to always have like an area that I bring all my markups to, just so it keeps it clean, and I have an area that I could put the price to at the end. You'll see what I mean. So just like this, and I can put on the side where this area is. So 34,883 is our 4-hour order block, and it's also very close to our daily low area, which price respected on Friday. So if anything, price is going to keep respecting this area to possibly keep going higher. And why do we say that? Not because this is just one order block rejection, but let's pull our fib now from this low to this high up here. And what do we see? What did price do? I'll mark this up just so you know where each and everything is drawn from. So what did happen? Price came down to 62% of this fib and currently is now respecting it. So if price is overall in this overall uptrend, like we said, it's holding this breaker block on the daily time frame, it's respecting this 4-hour order block. So there's two confirmations for price to have that overall uptrend. And if you also look at what price was respecting, it didn't come to the 800 level, which is one of my levels that I like to watch for confluent respecting, so basically rejection of. But in this case, it didn't. So that's really it for this 4-hour time frame. And areas that we would be looking to target for that overall push will be up here, which will be another 4-hour order block right here. And even though I'm still overall bullish and I want to see the buy side liquidity from these highs taken, you never know for sure if price is going to keep on pushing higher. So if you want to get into buy positions, it's just overall safer to have a safe area such as this 4-hour order block that you can get out in case price does just respect it and keep coming lower, because you don't want to be in that trade expecting it to break those highs and it doesn't, and then you just end up breaking even. I just always like to get out at a certain area, even if it's before the overall target, because I use it as a safe target, if that makes sense. So overall, what do we see on this US30? So overall, we've been ranging all week. We're respecting the daily time frames of a breaker block, so it's basically using it as a support. It's also respecting our fib. It's also respecting a 4-hour order block. So now let's go down to the 1-hour time frame. This is very choppy, as you guys can see. It was a rough week, but we made it work. I'm only made about 1% this week, but that's okay. 1% a week is 4% a month, and that's at minimal. So let's look at what's happening right now. So if you also look on this 1-hour time frame, if you look all the way to the left over here, what do we see? This last down candle before this push up, which would be a 1-hour order block, is also being respected. So we have multiple things being respected at this point in time for price to more than likely have that push up. So I'm going to make this red. I'm going to name it 1-hour order block so you guys don't get confused. Pull it over. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker just so you guys could see clearly. So we also have price respecting this 1-hour order block also. And as you can see, the way price was respecting these areas, it is respecting it well. So inside of this 1-hour order block, I'm going to put the 50%. I'm going to do the same thing with the 4-hour order block. So from there to there. And then for a 4-hour order block, I'm going to do the same thing. And the reason why I put the 50% is because I like to refine my order blocks, and it gives me an area that I can have a better target. And as you can see, remember how I was talking about the 800 level? Right here, this 50% is at 805. So if I pull this line, make it normal, and I put the coordinates, I'm going to make it 34,800. Same thing down here. Is right here. This is our 34,800 level, which is a strong level that I like to look for rejection off of. I'm going to make this black, and I'm going to mark this just like this. Just like that. So 34,800, not 801. 34,800 is right here at the 50% of this 4-hour order block. So if price does potentially come lower, I know we could look for possible rejection of this area to possibly go higher. And if you also look closely over here, these are also areas that price could probably respect off of on the lower time frame. But if you go to the higher time frame, what also is in that area? It's just nothing really. These are bigger candles. So now that we know that we have areas that price is likely to keep respecting, now we got to look for areas price is likely to go to. We already talked about how there's buy side liquidity above these equal highs up here. So this high, what is above it? Buy stops, and there's stop losses. I can't talk. There's stop losses above these areas. So what do we know? That means there's liquidity in these areas, and price is more than likely going to push above it at one point in time. And these are also all-time highs. And US30, as you can see, if you look on the higher time frames, like the weekly, is constantly making all-time highs and is more than likely going to keep continuing to make all-time highs. So this is it for US30 as of right now. So overall, I'm still bullish above 34,800. We still have that potential to keep on falling lower to 34,800 before having that overall push. And if it does fall to 34,800, the confirmations that we have for price to keep on going up is at 50% of the 4-hour order block, the overall uptrend, the 1-hour order block, And also keep in mind that below all these lows is also sell side liquidity. Why is it sell side liquidity? Because what do we know about sell stops and buy stops? Under all these lows, under these lows, these lows, these lows, there's people stop losses that are from people that are buying the market, and there's buy stops from people anticipating the breakout of that market. So that's really it for US30. This is simple because we're in the range. We're basically just predicting price is going to keep on pushing up. In areas that we are looking to target, there's no imbalances on the higher time frames, as you guys can see. So you would have to go to lower time frames such as the 30-minute or even lower to find imbalances for price to possibly keep going. But at this point, I don't even see nothing. We would have, I usually don't even go down to the 15. Even on the 15, there's no imbalances in the market that price is more than likely to trade to. But the only one I see is right here. From here to here would be a fair value gap or imbalance, whatever you want to call it. On the 15-minute, I'm going to mark that up just because on the higher time frames that I'm usually on, I'm not even going to see it. So right here. So this is an area that you can look to target. Right up here. And what is this also at? This is also at a 1 hour order block. I'm not going to mark this up because it's irrelevant to me at this point because I want to see price go higher. But this is just an area that you could possibly look to target for longs if price does have that push down. This is an area you can look to get out of before this 4 hour order block, which is up here, which is marked up just like that. So that's it for US30. Overall, still bullish above 34,800. We know where we want to target. We know the confirmations and where price is likely to go. If price does keep on going lower, more than likely going to come to this area down here at 34,800. So now let's move on to NAS. So NAS, let's look at the daily time frame so we can understand what's going on. So NAS is doing something similar to US30. As you can see, this push down followed by that push up that broke these highs right here. This would be considered a breaker block just like US30 was. And what is it doing? Price is still respecting it, just like US30 is also. Since they move very similar, they do similar things. It's not going to be identical, but they move very similar. And if we pull our fib from this low to the high up here, it's more than likely going to be at our continuation level, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, right here. Our 38.20% continuation level is currently where price is consolidating, also at this breaker block. So now we know on the daily time frame that we're overall still bullish, just like we are on US30. We got to understand what's going on the 4 hour time frame. So as of right now, price is having this push up, and why is having this push up? If you also look to the left, it's another breaker block that it looks to be respecting, and in this case, I'm not going to have it drawn because I have my overall daily one being respected. This is kind of ugly, not going to lie. But we're going to make it work and we're going to understand what's going on. So from here, we understand on the higher time frames that we're still bullish. So now we're looking for areas price is more than likely going to respect if it does come lower, and areas to look to target if price does keep going higher. So the first thing that comes to my eyes is over here. This last, do the same thing with US30, just like this. This last down candle before this up move, which would be a 4 hour order block. Right here, 4 hour order block. And what is it? Where is this at? It's in confluence with the 79 and the 70.50% of this overall fib. Wrong thing. And this will be at 1477.34. So if price does have this drop and does target the sell side liquidity, which is under these lows right here, because what do we know about equal lows? There is liquidity under these lows. And same thing with up here, these highs, buy side liquidity. Why? Because these are equal highs. And same thing up here, all these equal highs are buy side liquidity. So we know if price does come lower to get this buy side liquidity, is more than likely going to come to this area, which is in confluence with the 4 hour order block, also with our fib from the higher time frame, to potentially range to possibly see higher prices and finally take that buy side liquidity. because you got to keep in mind that short term we're still in this downtrend. Why are we still in this downtrend? Because we're creating lower lows and lower highs, such as these. So we're in a short term downtrend. So if we keep this downtrend, respect it, because if you also look at what's happening on the lower time frame, not the lower time frame, the 4-hour time frame, right here, this last up candle for this down move, where price is currently coming to as of right now, will also be a 4-hour order block. So we know, let's do this. We know that if price is in this overall downtrend and does want to come see lower prices, it is more than likely going to come to this 4-hour order block right here. Move this over. More than likely to come to this 4-hour order block. And let's pull our fib from this high to this low. And what do we see? It's also in confluence with these areas also. So if you look, we have a lot of confirmations in this area for price to more than likely respect it before coming lower. Right here at the 4-hour order block, price would be more than likely to come down lower, get the buy side liquidity, come to these fib levels, respect this order block before potentially coming to see higher prices and taking the buy side liquidity for this out. So this is what I'm overall looking at for NAS right now. And the areas that we could target looks like the same thing as US30. There's not really imbalances, but the one imbalance that I do see is right here. This was an imbalance for value gap. Like I said, you can call it whatever you want. That hasn't fully been filled yet. So this could be an area that you're looking to target. And what is a fair value gap or imbalance is just another area where liquidity lies. And this is also a double confirmation, because why? The fair value gap or imbalance, whatever you want to call it, is where the buy side liquidity is. So we know that there's liquidity above these highs and there's also an imbalance. So price is more than likely going to have that push into that area. So I'm not going to mark up anything on the 1-hour time frame. I'm going to stick to higher time frame. So overall, this is what I'm expecting for NAS. I'm expecting that push down from this 4-hour order block, which is at 1500, which is also another confirmation. So right here, 15,000, my bad. We're going to mark that up. 15,000. Do not mean to do that. Just like that. So 15,000 right here. I'm going to make this black. So this is another confirmation that we have right here. So there's a lot of confirmations in this area for price to more than likely have that drop. So we have the 15,000 whole number level, our 4-hour order block, downtrend, short-term downtrend, and it's also in confluence with the fib short. So that's why I'm expecting price to have that push downwards before coming up. Because even though we're respecting this overall daily breaker block, it still looks like price has been coming down lower and creating liquidity. So I still believe price will come lower. And now that I'm looking on the daily time frame, what do we see down here also? There's also a daily order block right here. I'm going to mark it up with this. It's right at the bottom of our 4-hour order block. So if you come down, there's just so much confirmation in this area for price to come down and then to possibly respect this area. I'm going to mark this up so I understand what it is. Our daily order block. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to make it red. So that's what I'm expecting for NAS to do. Overall, still bullish on it just like I am with US30. And so if we remain under 15,000, I'm still anticipating price will have that drop to around 14,734 before having that push up. So now let's move on to GJ. So same thing. Let's look at the daily time frame and what do we see that's happening. The first thing that comes to my eyes is that we have been in this downtrend. And if you look where price is currently doing, it's respecting this order block, bearish order block on the daily time frame right here. The last up candle before this down move that broke these lows. So I'm going to draw this order block just like this. I'm going to pull it over. And as you can see, price is respecting it very well. do the same thing, mark them up. This is very important to always mark up what everything is so you understand what it is, because when you have a whole bunch of lines of things on your chart, it's going to be hard to understand what each thing is. So if you just have them like this marked up, it just makes it very easy. We're going to pull our fib also, just so we understand. In this case, our fib is not being respected, so that's a confirmation we will not use. So overall, daily time frame, overall bearish, because we're in a downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs. So we're overall making bearish market structure. We're respecting this daily order block. We're starting to break the low, this last daily candle after a doji. So overall, we're bearish on GJ as of right now. So now we're going to move to our lower time frames. So since we're bearish, where are areas that we would be looking to possibly get into trades and target trades? So the first thing that comes in my eyes is I see that there's a lot of order blocks, such as this last down candle before this up move, this last down candle before this up move, and there's a lot of imbalances on this chart also. So not like US30 and all those other charts, but there's a lot more imbalances. And the best imbalances are found under lows, because this acts as a double confirmation for liquidity. Why? Because we know under all these lows are sell side liquidity, and if there's also an imbalance under there, it's just extra confirmation that price will more than likely come to that area to fill it in. So right here we have one. I'm just looking for major ones. Right here I would have one. So these are just the two ones I'm going to have. There's also more down here, but at this point I'm not going to have it, because we know that right here is a 4-hour bullish order block, and right here we have this 4-hour bullish order block. So I'm going to just leave those two as areas we could target. So one thing we want to keep in mind is, since we have this area here, let's mark up these order blocks on the higher time frame. I'm going to make this blue, since this is a 4-hour one. So we have this 4-hour order block in confluence with our imbalance. I'm going to put the 50% on this order block just because it's so big. And as you can see, it matches with at the bottom of this fair value gap. So more than likely, from what I'm seeing right now, let's pull our fib from here also. More than likely, what I think is going to happen with this pair now, GJ, I think price will come up, possibly respect right here, this area, before having that drop to around here. And why is this area? Because if you look right here, the last up candle, the last down candle before this up move, which is right here, this is going to act as a breaker block. And if I'm correct, more than likely right now, if I look at the 38.20% of this fib without marking it up, it's going to be in confluence. Yeah, so these are things you could just learn over time, and it's just more than likely what I think is going to happen right now. I don't really trade GJ, I just mark it up for you guys. So more than likely, if we keep this overall downtrend, I think price will have this push up, maybe when market opens, to possibly have this drop down to this 4-hour order block and fill this imbalance before possibly going higher. And let's pull our fib from this low to this high also. I'm going to draw it from right here. It's another confirmation in here, so I'm going to put this so you know where our fibs are drawn from. So from this low to the high. And as you can see, there's a lot of confirmation in this area. It also it's in confluence with our fib long, our 50% of the 4-hour order block, and it's at an imbalance. So as you can see, there's a lot of confirmations in this area for price to more than likely keep pushing down from this daily order block, this fib short, or this 38.20% continuation level, which is also in confluence with our breaker block on this time frame. And then even then, if price does come lower, you can pull your fib from this low to this high and see where it is. Price could still come down to fill in this full order block and still reject this area. I'm not going to draw that up right now, because that's if price comes there. If it does come there, then I will have it marked up. But until then, this is what I'm looking at for GJ. Overall, I'm short-term bearish from, what level is this? 152.767. I'm bearish if we remain under that level, and I'm bullish above, what level is this? I'm bullish above 152 basically. I'm just 152 whole number level. I'm going to mark that up. just so I know. 152, and then 152. So I'm bearish above 150. I'm bullish above 152, and I'm bearish above 150. I'm bearish under 152.767. So this is what I'm expecting for GJ. I'm expecting to have this short-term push up before having this push down to potentially then see higher prices possibly. But if we don't see that, then we can look for areas to target down here around 15, 150, 900. So that's what I think we're looking at with GJ. So now let's move on to gold, which is our last pair we're going to be marking up. So same thing, start off on the daily time frame. What do we see that's happening? The first thing that comes to my eyes is this major imbalance that we have right here that is starting to be filled but hasn't been fully filled yet. This is an area that I've been looking to target for weeks now. Even when price was down here at 17.75, I've been targeting it. Let me go over here. I remember my markups from maybe a few weeks ago. If you guys go look at them, I've been bullish on gold. There was a recent that I posted on here. No, I don't think I did a trade idea on it or whatever. Let's now, we're looking at the daily time frame. What we're going to do, let's pull our fibs from this low to this high so we can see what price is doing. So as you can see, price had this push up and it came down and it's respecting our continuation level, and it looks like it's starting to have this push back up. So in my eyes, I'm looking for areas to get into a retracement to possibly buy gold even higher. So that's what I'm looking at on the daily time frame. And I'm going to pull another fib from this low down here on the daily time frame to right here. So now we can see this 38.20% is currently where price is at on gold. So now let's move on to the 4-hour time frame and lower so we can anticipate areas to possibly get into trades at. So the first thing that I see when I'm looking at this is kind of hard to draw. Let me look for maybe there's a better one on lower time frame. Right here. Just like this. This would be our breaker block. I wanted to draw one on the higher time frame on like the 4-hour, but as you can see, this is kind of it's very small, so I went down to lower time frame, and as you can see, it's still being respected. So our breaker block is being respected. This is a 1-hour breaker block in confluence with the 62% of this fib that we drew from this low to this high up here. Let me just do a list like this from this high. And like we said, we're overall bullish on the higher time frames on the 1-hour, not the 1-hour, the daily. We're respecting this continuation level down here. So overall, we're expecting price to have this push up. Didn't mean to do that. We're expecting price to have this push up, have a retracement to possibly go even higher. To do what? Fill in this imbalance that was up here on the higher time frames that we talked about, and also get this buy side liquidity that is above these equal highs right here. So this is overall what I'm looking at for gold. Gold, I don't really be marking up anything crazy. I just mark up the higher time frames and I just let it ride out. So also the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull my fib from right up here. Is that an area on the daily? No. I'm gonna pull my fib from right up here to this low all the way down here. So I could take off this continuation level because it is not being respected. But we also got to keep in mind what is being respected right now. The 70.50% has been respected twice already. So if price is going to remain in this downtrend, we will see price break structure. But until price breaks structure, we're overall still bullish. Because as you can see, there is a lot of liquidity that lies below these lows, which would be sell side liquidity. Why? Because we have lows here, equal lows here, equal lows, equal lows, equal lows, equal lows. So there's a lot of equal lows that price is more than likely going to want to run below, possibly, before having this overall push back up. And as you can see from this fib down here, if we want to mark up more confirmations, we have this 4-hour bullish order block right here. Right here. I'm going to take this off, make this blue. We have this 4-hour bullish order block. Make it bigger. That is also in confluence with this area right here. So 4-hour order block. I'm going to do the same thing I did with my other pairs, just so it makes it cleaner. Just like that. Just like that. So this is what I'm looking at for gold. Overall, still bullish on gold. I'm looking to buy the retracement. I'm personally not going to buy it, but ideally, if I was, I would be looking to buy the retracement to possibly see higher prices and to fill in this imbalance on the higher time frame that we have still yet to fill. So that's really it with this weekly markup. It's a little bit longer, but I'm just trying to give you guys multiple different trade pairs and everything, because I know I only trade US30, but I know majority of people don't trade US30, and I don't recommend it. But I've been trading it for strictly by itself for a year now, so I had the experience to only trade it. And I just mark up the other pairs just to give myself basically back testing, and also to give you guys an idea of what I see is going to happen in the market with these other pairs, because I know a lot of people, I do all the main pairs like gold, NAS, GJ, stuff like that, the pairs that I know a lot of people trade. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and I gave you a little insight to how I trade and everything. So that's really it. Hopefully you guys like this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I got my links to my Telegram chat in the description. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and y'all take it easy.